of reward to risk calculations?
Yeah, risk to reward calculations, that it's one of those things that in theory it sounds like a good idea. You set your limit order to double the distance of your stop, for instance, but for me I probably don't use those particularly as textbooks would say, only because again, it goes back to the stop loss issue, whereby I find that if you have your stop loss too close, they do tend to get hit quite a lot. So in theory, risk to reward is a really good thing, but the way I traded, I tend not to focus too much on that, but I keep my leverage very small, even negative. So that's how I kind of avoid the risk to reward issue.
What about position sizing and risk per trade?
Yeah, I think that's the key thing. Position sizing needs to be as small as it possibly can be, but in order to still get a decent return. I tend to have probably fairly high risk per trade, but that's again only so that I can have a more gap between. I don't want the market to take out my stops if they're too close. So in practice, my risk per trade is probably less than about 1 or 2% in practice. But yeah, again, these are really important issues. Risk management, and it's probably the single most important thing in trading, really, because you can be right 99% of the time, but the 1% that you're wrong could wipe you out if your position size is too big. So it is really important, risk management.
Do you use stops?
I do use stops. I like to keep them fairly wide, as I say. They're really a last resort measure for me, because, as I say, my experience of using stops is they do tend to get hit all the time. So I use a fairly wide stop, but it is in place. And again, in order to trade on a window, you do have to use stop losses as part of the risk management that they have.
Well, I got here. What are your thoughts on risk and money management?
Yeah, it's the most important aspect, really. Having too big a position size is opening yourself up to be wiped out, basically. So you need to, in my opinion, you need to have as small a position size as you can in order to still generate a decent return. You need to work that out for yourself as to what that is. But yeah, you don't want to have too big a position size.